The world of American education is hard enough to navigate for those born into the culture. However, when mixed with the complexities and obstacles involved in immigration, the difficulties can seem unbeatable. Students who are immigrants to the United States struggle with a seemingly overwhelming language barrier as well as the daily frustrations of adapting to a new culture. Many have the added concern of being separated from their families, and others lack an adequate support system necessary for a successful educational experience.
Education is very different in the immigrants' home countries compared to education in America. Andrea Ruiz, a global education specialist at Western Iowa Tech, explains those differences.
Things that American education can provide differently than perhaps what some of our international students may get in their home countries is a different setting. Typically, the American classroom is more relaxed in many ways than other classrooms in other countries. And so they really get an opportunity to interact with professors more, maybe more so than in their own countries often. And learning to collaborate and problem solve is also another area that American schools do very well in that typically are not as focused on in other education systems.
Binyam Ware, a freshman at North High, went to school in Ethiopia until 3rd grade when he moved to America with his family.
Well, the language. It's more strict back there. I don't know how to describe it, but here it's like you do your work and we'll do ours. But there it's like if you don't do your work, you're punished. They'll hit you with a ruler and stuff. And yeah.
Vitalina Lopez, a student from Western Iowa Tech, came to America from Guatemala when he was just 14. He didn't have very much schooling in Guatemala since he was one of 9 siblings and had to help support his family, which in result caused American education to be more difficult for him.
When I came here, I wasn't even speaking my own language like Spanish, who everybody knows that Central American, they speak all Spanish. But I wasn't speaking Spanish when I came here. I was speaking my dialect, Mam, it was difficult for me because I didn't went to school there. I went to school there, but like I said, I started working little, and then started working hard to help my mom.
We talked to Rosanna Burwright, a Brazilian immigrant who is also the secretary for the Global Studies Department at Western Iowa Tech, where international students come to study English. She explained some hardships that these students and immigrants face when coming to America.
The language, because it's kind of, it makes you feel a little, how can I say, afflicted, because you cannot understand what the other people are saying. So the communication struggle is what they face. It's terrible for them.
Lisa Millen, who is an adjunct professor who works with ESL students at Western Iowa Tech, answered the same question, but her answer was geared toward the education part of the immigrants' lives.
Of course, not knowing the native language is probably their greatest hurdle that they have to face, but they also have other obstacles that they face. Some of it is other students' perception of them. I find that many of my students, once I get to know them, I'm amazed at their background, their experience. Some of students come and they've held positions of honor. They've held jobs of status. And when they come to the United States to learn English, sometimes you forget. You don't know all of that life history about them. So they come without a background, I think. They feel like no one knows who they are. They're homesick. They feel as if nobody understands them. They might feel isolated. They feel alone. There's no one who understands their culture. There's no one who speaks their dialect.
Vitalino's whole life changed after moving to America. Like most immigrants, he has been through situations that most average Americans can't even imagine.
There, I was in high school when I got hired in Tyson, and then I've been through so many difficult things because I have to go to full-time school, full-time job.
Andrea Ruiz explains more barriers that immigrants have to face when living in America.
Other barriers, of course, are going to be language. Often it's financial. even down to transportation issues at times. So it really just depends on where that particular student is in life. But oftentimes, too, there's ways of helping them overcome some of those.
When asked what Americans can do to help immigrant students adapt to their environment, Mrs. Millen responded with ways that Americans can help the students with the problems they face every day.
Befriending them, by talking with them, start up conversations with them, and be patient in listening to them. Some of them are self-conscious about their inability to speak English properly. So nod, smile while they're talking, invite them to do things, start friendships with them. I think many immigrants will have a much more successful experience if they develop friendships with people who are familiar with the culture, can introduce them to the culture, and just are pleasant and inviting and welcoming to.
Ms. Ruiz describes the roles that American citizens have in the immigrants' lives.
Roles I see that I have and that others in this area have is really to give confidence to the students that really they can do this. Especially our immigrant students, a lot of times just need the confidence. They may not have any academic training or very little from their own country or little to no English. And so many times it's just being able to come alongside them and say, you can do this. It takes time, but you've got everything you need to do it, and just really building themselves up, helping them see that they can do it.
Many Americans sometimes think it's too difficult for America to adapt and to be able to move forward while immigrants are coming to the United States. Lisa Millen thinks differently.
I think it's naive to say that there aren't challenges to communities accepting immigrants. We are in the process of learning what it means to live in a pluralistic society where we're not just a homogenous unit, but we have people from many different cultures. And it's a process. We have to learn how to live together. And sometimes we do that really well, and sometimes we don't do that so well. Also, I think in education, it's can be understanding the culture, the background culture of the student, and understanding perhaps their religious background and where they are coming from, because it's different than perhaps what is normally expected or experienced.
American education is full of opportunities that help you succeed in life. Many of the opportunities here are unavailable in other countries. One student who asked not to be shown on camera said this: "If I can, I want to teach in Ethiopia because everybody can't. They can't come here. I'm just one of the lucky guys to come to here." Binyam has always wanted to be a doctor, even before he moved to America, but his dream seems more real to him now than ever, with all of the opportunities America provides in education.
I was always interested in medical. Like, I wanted to be something medical, but right now, I'm still at that, and I'm just trying to get that going. Everything is like, you could like go to doctors and see what they're doing and everything, and like there's classes I could take here that are pretty much like, that will let me see what would happen, but I don't think that's available back in Ethiopia.
One day I want to be someone like, I was dreaming to become a cop, but I don't know if I can make it through that, so that way I can defend American. I mean, I'm not being mean in my country, but that country didn't give me that American is giving me now, like education. Thank God I have better job now, and yeah, I'll really fight for America.
This experience made me realize how difficult school is for American immigrants. They have to readapt to everything. It's like learning the basics again. Some are unable to communicate with most people, especially in school. They have a new environment, new responsibilities, and need to make new friends. A lot of these immigrants left their family and their friends behind. They need new people to step up and be their friends. A simple act, a simple gesture can go a long way. They are just like us, though they might speak a different language or have a different color of skin. But we're all human. Are you just going to sit there and watch, or are you going to make them feel welcome and make a difference? What will you do?